right, and we're here.
Recording.
Now we're recording. Look,
Oh,
we live with
okay.
Giggles Without Limits, man.
Okay. So
And
that's the name of it.
yeah, Giggles Without
Okay.
Limits, our podcast. And today we're here with the comedian Jared Lowery. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Good to see you,
I
man. Good to see you.
woke up a couple times.
Uh huh.
It was thundering. And,
Yeah, you talking about the thunderstorms from last
yeah,
night?
the thunderstorm,
It's crazy.
tornado.
It was nuts. So yeah, you had storms in your area?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was crazy. Yeah, I was listening to that last night and all of that stuff. I was listening to the radio and I kept getting those little storm alerts
Oh, yeah.
like all night last night. So that was a big thing, man. So yeah, so let's talk a little bit about comedy, man. How long you been doing stand up
Oh,
comedy?
almost 11 years.
Man.
It'll be 11 years in August.
Hmm. How'd you get started?
I started doing it at the Joint Coffee Shop Comedy Theater, and it just closed down yesterday.
Yeah, I
They're
heard.
going to be reopening it's going to be the same kind of entertainment, I guess. I don't know.
So are they still
I'm
going to
sure.
feature comedy or?
Yeah, they're going to do cabaret shows,
Okay.
and, magician shows,
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I haven't been booked on anything over there yet.
Okay.
But
Yeah. So you've been. I saw you at the Looney Bin for
Yes.
the competition.
yes.
So the thing that the competition went really well. The Little Rock went in the Looney Bin. And did you go on to the next city
Yeah, I
to
went
Chicago?
to Chicago, and they were really good up there. They were funny.
You saw some
They
funny
were-
people, huh?
They were very good
Yeah.
comedians. I was very impressed with most of them.
Okay. How you think? How did you think you did? How'd it go?
I thought I did okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like going to Chicago.
So you enjoyed the
Yes,
city?
I love going there.
Mhm. You like to go to the see the sights in Chicago, huh?
I did.
Yeah.
I went up in the John Hancock building, and you can see the whole city from there.
Yeah,
Stuff.
yeah, that's pretty
So
big.
Yeah.
Your old Sears Tower and such. That was you been to Chicago before? Yeah, been to Chicago before.
A couple times. I went to the Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals game.
Nice.
And, that's a really big stadium.
Yeah, you a Cubs fan or you a Cardinals
I
fan?
like the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
My family really likes the Cardinals because they're from St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
My dad's family is. I don't get to see them there very much, though.
Mm-hmm. But the Chicago though is cool little trip. So you do you go to St. Louis often?
No.
Mm.
I went there when I was a little kid.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man. So this comedy thing. So did you go to Atlanta? Did they do the?
No, I didn't go to Atlanta.
They do the Atlanta one's coming up.
Oh,
I think. Yeah, the
that one.
Atlanta shows May 22nd at the Uptown Comedy Corner. So I see Uncle Bam's hosting that thing, and they can get more information at L.O.A.B. 3 at gmail.com, all that stuff. But Yeah, I know the. So that's next week. The show in Atlanta, the competition as it goes on. So you planning on going to that one?
I don't know. I didn't know about that.
Okay.
I didn't know what it was.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Well, Atlanta might be a little something too. They got a lot. They got stuff to see. A nice
I've
visit
never
when you
been
go.
there.
Nice visit when you go. So you've been doing comedy 11 years,
Yeah.
and you started here in Arkansas.
Yes.
Mm. So but you don't have a problem getting around, going to other cities though to do it. Huh? Have you been to other places besides like Chicago or
I've been to Idaho.
mm.
I've been to Florida, Alabama, Texas. I did a show there.
Texas is a
So
big
I've been
place.
around. I'm going to go to Joplin, Missouri on June 14th. I'm supposed to do 20 minutes there.
Okay. So you up for it? You ready to?
Yeah, I haven't done that much time in years.
Uh-huh.
Like 5 or 6 years.
So you gotta put some stuff together, huh?
Yes.
Got to put some stuff together. Yeah, I don't know, man. So what in the competition? What'd you do? About 10 minutes? Is about.
Yeah. I think there's like 7
Uh,
or something.
you did good though. You got a real good response from the crowd
Did
though.
I? Oh.
Real good response from the crowd. So, how does that like when you first started off? Were you nervous or like how did it? Because a lot of comics talk about the times when they bomb or when they're learning the craft. You've been doing it 11 years, so how'd you start and as compared to where you are now? What do you your process and stuff?
I've definitely got better.
Mm.
Say that. But I have videos on YouTube from about my oldest one is like 8 or 9 years old. I think my uncle took it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can really tell a difference if you go through them.
Mm-hmm. Right, you can see where you
Yeah.
started.
So,
So is it on your YouTube page?
yes.
Okay. What's your YouTube page?
It's just my name, Jared Lowery.
Mm-hmm.
If you search Jared Lowery stand-up comedy, I should be the first one that comes up.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
You know what I'm saying? That's a good
So-
thing. You can find me. You can find me.
No.
So that's good, man. So how is it like doing comedy? Do you I know you got a regular life or whatnot. You don't do comedy full time, right? Or do you?
No, I don't do it full time.
Mm.
Yeah, I got family and stuff. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I live with my girlfriend.
Yeah, hey, a 4-year-old is a lot, so
Yeah,
keep you busy.
Very active.
A
She's
4-year-old.
all over the place.
And to be able to keep up with a 4-year-old, that's something in itself. So, yeah, well, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. So, we talk about like the doing the clubs and stuff around here. So, have you pretty much, I know we were talking about the joint closing. Any other places around here? Yeah, I know we talked about Looney, but any other places you've done some stand up at?
I've done the Nut House a couple of times.
Yeah, Nut House is cool. Yeah,
Nate Williams' place.
my man Nate.
Yeah, I've done that place a couple of times. It goes on too late, so
Yeah.
I don't go anymore.
Yeah. Say you don't know when it's gonna end over there, huh?
I don't go anymore.
They go like Looney Bin. They get you be up out of there. 10, 11 o'clock. You up out of there pretty much most cases.
There was a place called the House of Art. They used to do a show.
Oh, over in North Little Rock.
Yes.
Right in Argenta,
They
right
used
there.
to do open mics there.
Okay. I see where a lot of people sometimes try to combine spoken word or poetry with comedy, and I've seen some shows like that. I was working in this bar and they were doing karaoke, spoken word, and stand up, like all,
I don't think that's a
all
good
in
idea.
rotation. It was confusing at times. Like, she's doing poetry. That's not stand up. You know,
No,
in around.
the
So.
times I've done stand-up comedy with karaoke, most people are there for karaoke.
Not the stand up, right?
Yes. So
So
they're waiting until you get done.
right, dude.
So,
I want to sing my song. Or what is this dude talking about?
oh,
Yeah, it definitely has to be the right environment. Do you ever do stuff like family events and stuff like that? Like people invite you family reunions or
well,
birthday parties and stuff?
I did a high school reunion
Okay,
one time with Nate Williams.
okay. High school
And,
reunion, yeah, that's pretty cool. Nate gets a lot of those. He gets like church stuff too. Like
I've done one church show, I think, in Russellville, Arkansas. And you know who D So Funny is?
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, he was on that show.
Yeah, D's been on this show at least 5 times.
Yeah, he did. A couple nights ago, he did one of the last show at the Joint.
Yeah, I hate I missed that because I saw people talking. Did you perform that night?
I did not
Mm.
perform.
Mm.
But he's doing well.
He's on the road now. He was. I talked to him
I
yesterday.
don't know where he's going.
He was
getting on a plane.
yeah, he was going to. I want to say they were going to Chicago. I think they were going to Chicago,
Oh,
but they were in. He was in Atlanta when I talked to him, but. And I saw him the other day. He was going to Memphis, so like,
Yeah, he's all over.
he was everywhere. So you know, it's always something, man. And I guess that's a part of the game of being able to get gigs and stuff. How often do you perform? Every couple months or?
I would do the Joint every week,
Mm-hmm.
and as far as paying gigs, I'll do like once a month or once every other month. I'll get something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure through the open mics you pick up stuff. People see you. And,
yeah, I've never met the person who's doing the Joplin show, but I heard that he was booking comics from Arkansas up there, so I sent him some videos and a message to him, and he got back to me.
and put you on the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. You booked yourself.
Yeah, I kind of did. Yeah.
You booked yourself. You did. That's pretty good. I mean, you know, that in itself. I know a lot of guys. You have to do that. You have to kind of reach out and book, get the gigs booked, and hit the road. Do what you need to do. So, you know, that's a good part of it. So as far as comedy goes, I've seen your act. How do you explain? Like where you get your comedy from? What inspires your comedy? I mean, you know, is it just stuff you think about, and you know?
It's things that have happened in my life that I try to make a funny story about, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what
You
it
see
is.
humor in a lot of stuff, like
Yeah, and really, I'd say you have to do that, or else you're just gonna be miserable your whole life.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta laugh. I get it. I'm there, man. That's something. So are you? Where you from? Where you originally from?
I'm from Little Rock. I grew up most of my life in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I went to high school there, and I was going to go to college there. I didn't get accepted to U of A. So I moved back here and I went to ULR.
Okay.
So, so I've lived most of my life in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I lived for a small time. I lived in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
That was really different.
Yeah, I know people in Oregon and Portland and stuff, and I know Eugene is kind of one of those places too, huh? With a lot of how is that? I mean, you say it's different than it's different in Arkansas, of course, but like in how?
There's a lot of hippies there.
Yeah, that's what look. That's what I was gonna say when you first. I wanted to hear you say it, but yeah, that's kind of what the idea that I get from people
Yeah.
that I know that have gone there.
It
or have
rains
lived
a
there.
lot.
Yeah, I hear that too. I hear that.
It rained for 40 days in a row. I counted.
You thought you was in the Bible or something. 40
Yeah.
days and 40 days.
Because I was in high school there. Then we moved back to Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that hot up there. There's a beach there that has like these huge sand dunes.
Hmm.
And it was,
I never think
you
of the
can't
beach
get
when
into
I
the
go there.
water over there.
Because it's cold.
Yeah, the water's really cold, and there's an undertow, and it'll make you
A
fall
cold,
in the water.
a cold beach. I
Yeah.
always wonder about
So
that.
you can't.
I always wonder about that kind of stuff.
But we did go out to the beach one time.
Uh-huh.
But,
That's pretty cool. So then you move back. You move back to Fayetteville. Fayetteville is pretty cool. That whole
I like Fayetteville.
Northwest Arkansas area up there. I hadn't been maybe a year or so, but the last time I was up there, just everything always looks brand new. It's a lot of cool stuff, being built and developed in that area, man.
yeah, I go up there at least once a month
Mm-hmm.
to see my parents, and my brother lives there. And it's always getting new stuff up there. It's growing up there. Like,
Yeah, it really
there's a
is.
lot of
It's
people
impressive.
who live there.
It's impressive. What do you know about the comedy scene up there? You do shows up there?
I do it up there at a place called Nomads, which is a restaurant. I've done that place. There's a bar called Black Apple Crossing, which is like a apple cider brewery.
Okay, nice.
And they have a stage, and they have shows there, and they're free.
Okay.
I don't know how they do that.
Yeah. Well, they probably sell a lot of apple cider. They figure out a way to make their money. I'm sure.
I think Big Dre is there this weekend.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing Big Dre. He was on the show 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
My man Dre. Big
He's
Dre.
hilarious.
We go way back.
He's funny.
We got a lot in common, a lot of connections. So it's always cool with the comedians like that. And I think me and him were talking about that too. Doing comedy up there, Northwest Arkansas and stuff. So I mean, it looks like you got what was it, Bentonville, Springdale, all that. It's probably different locations you can probably hit in all of those areas. I would think maybe some venue, a bar or something. But there's a dedicated comedy venue there, isn't there? Or no? Or
No, I don't.
Maybe it's not, because maybe not, but it would be. Yeah, that's what they need up there. If they don't have,
Yeah.
because they got a lot of other stuff.
There's a place called The Grove.
I've heard of
I've
that.
never done.
I've heard of
Never
that.
been there.
Somebody was telling me about that.
But they get some really big names up there.
Yeah, at the Momentary and yeah, all that stuff. Was it Crystal Bridges? They're always having something up there. So
Yeah, I've been there to the
to the
Crystal
museum.
Bridges.
Yeah, that's where I want
It's
to go.
pretty neat.
I haven't been. I
like
do. I definitely want to do that.
Yeah, there's some cool things to look at there.
Yeah. I went through one of the virtual tours. I would really like to check it out in person. I think put that on my list for this summer. Head up there and do that, man. get on the road and do some stuff. But so you say you moved back to Little Rock and went to school at UALR. So what'd you study at UALR?
Journalism, and so writing.
Okay.
I wrote for the newspaper.
I was about to ask because it's a lot of stuff. They had a radio station, they got TV, they got all kinds.
Yeah, I worked
multimedia
for the
stuff.
newspaper.
Okay.
A little bit. So
You got a journalism background.
Yeah, I like to write stories.
Hmm. I'm sure that helps in your comedy. I mean,
Yeah, writing helps. Yeah, I'd say write down some of your jokes because I've seen people who don't write and they're not that good. So
right. You can kind of tell
well, I don't
by
think they're that great.
yeah, because it's a craft. It's not it's a craft. It's like not haphazard. You're just gonna get up there and be funny. Like a lot of people are, like I'm funny at home. I'm funny with the family and around and in regular conversation. But that doesn't mean I could just go up and do
That's
10
what
minutes
people
worth of
think,
material.
though.
Do 10 minutes worth of material, the right way and get the right response that you're trying to get consistently. Now, you might crack a few people up one time, but you can't exist like that.
No, but that's what people think, though. They
Well, I noticed that during the
they
competition.
go, yeah, they think I'm, as you said, I make my family laugh a lot, so I can make other people laugh.
Right.
That's what
But your family is not out
a
there
lot
in
of
the
people
audience.
think. So.
Your family's not out there in the audience
No,
like that.
not all the time.
This is somebody that came to see, a show, and you got to be able to deliver on stuff like that. I mean, I guess that's something that you learn, and that's interesting that you have a journalism background. So the way you gather information, I'm sure, and the way that you, again, like put that together to present that, all helps out. So are you? Do you keep current on the news? Do you?
Not
Do you,
really.
okay, that's what I'm saying. As far as your material,
No,
you're not right.
not really.
as somebody with a journalism background, that's why that's kind of that's a good question. So, how do you do that? Like
I have been recently because it's just a lot of crazy stuff's going on.
it's all coming at you. You pretty much can't avoid it. Like, but
Most of the time, no.
yeah. Well, I'm a recovering news junkie, so I can say that I listen to the, what I'm saying, I listen to the news and read. I try, but I'm trying to really cut back on. I could have the TV on, the radio on, and reading something, and all this. If it's just too much information, it's not. Doesn't it? 9 times out of 10, it's not helpful. It's not.
No.
It's not helpful to you to be. Because I used to be like, well, how can people not know what's going on out here? And you think like they don't know what's going on, and they're still living their life. They still got life things. They got problems. They got good things going on, but it doesn't really matter because it's gonna always be something that scare you in the news. It's gonna, it's gonna be something else. So I had to back up off of it just because it was a lot. So, but I know comedians are the best a lot of times at kind of taking what's going on in the world and presenting it so people who don't keep up with the news are I ain't gonna say news, current affairs in the world, because news is kind of subjective what you call that. But yeah, I just I think about that kind of stuff, and a lot of comedians are able to bring that to people. So and it's not just news, but there's things that like you have a family.
Yeah.
Most people have a family or something that they can Just like when you said I have a 4-year, I was like, man, I can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's so many different things that comedians bring the point to. So, you know, how do you pick what you do in your comedy? Like your stand up is
Oh,
just.
well, she gives me a lot of material.
I bet, I
She's
bet, I bet,
oh,
I bet. You know that.
uh, yeah, being a parent is is no joke. I found out.
Right.
So
You said it's
there's a
no
lot
joke.
going on, man.
It's no joke.
It's funny to other people though.
Yeah. Well, you know, we all have been a kid or have kids, so we can. You know, it's just in one way or other, you can relate
Yeah.
from one side to the next, and that's kind of like I guess with any situation because I laugh at my kids because I think about when I was a kid sometimes. And I'm like, God, so you know that in itself is something. As we try to compare, you feel like I'm this old man because. Well, in my day, we didn't do this or we did this, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I find myself saying this a lot, but then I have to stop and just think, like, well, I'm sure during my day, it was the people older than me was like, what's going on here? So, you know, you think about generation wise, how people are, you know. So I see you got Sonic the
Yeah.
Hedgehog. You got the Sonic the Hedgehog T-shirt on.
Yes.
You a gamer?
Yeah.
You a Sonic fan?
Yeah. Have you seen the movies?
Yeah, I saw the first one. I haven't seen. I didn't see I didn't
Oh,
see the second one.
my,
And
my daughter loves Sonic the Hedgehog. She
my
loves
son,
those movies.
I got a 23-year-old. He loves Sonic. So, so when you talk about, we talk about current affairs. What upset him when he heard about tariffs was that the Switch 2 was gonna go up.
Oh,
The price of the
very
Switch 2 is going
expensive.
up, right? So
Like
you know,
$600.
so it's amazing how, like I said, you may not want to keep up with current affairs, but it's things that
Oh,
bring it to you. So I mean, I think about that. We're from a gaming culture. Most of my friends play games. I never was good at video games as a kid.
I'm not very good at
I
it.
started off in the Atari 2600 age.
Oh,
So
really?
so
I've never. I
so
don't
the
go that
original
far.
Pac-Man on the 2600 was a bop, 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 that crazy, you know, that old. So you know, I'm good at Miss Pac-Man. I can say that.
That's one
Little
of the best games.
Galaga maybe, and you know stuff like that. The old school games,
Yeah,
man.
Pac-Man's one of the best games.
Yeah, man.
I'd say.
Yes, yeah. Pac-Man was I mean, it was great. Like when it came out, it was I remember it was a game. Was it called Dragon's Lair or something? You familiar with that?
Oh, it's
It's like
like
a
a
cartoon.
cartoon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I've actually never played that game. But I've watched it on YouTube.
I
But
played it when I was 10. It was
really,
in Encino, California. It was
it's supposed
it
to be
was, it was
really
in an
hard.
arcade, and just think, I'm a little over 50. I ain't gonna say look, I was 10, right? That was
Yeah.
83.
Oh,
So in 83, it looked like a cartoon. It was amazing to me because it
yeah, it
looked
looks
like a
like a
cartoon. It
movie.
was like a movie. So you think early 2000s maybe? Well, I'll say even Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, like the realism that finally came in maybe the mid 2000s or something,
Yeah.
kind of now it's kind of common. But like you think that was 30, almost 30 some years, a 30-year difference before. Like now stuff you kind of look at, you're like, man, is that a movie? Because I see people like posting things online, like these car crashes and these police chases, and you look close, like, man, that's a game. That's you know, that's not real. But it looks so real, you know, now. But then I was amazed then, but I haven't seen it since. So
I was watching a beer commercial, and it didn't look real.
right. But that's kind of like how it is. I mean, you know, how things develop. You know, so like I said, the Atari 2600. My friend had it. My mom wouldn't buy me one. I wanted an Atari. I told her for Christmas. She bought me the Atari 800 XL which is actually a computer, which is what you could do basic on. We used to do basic and
I don't know what that is.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I used to take a cartridge. It's crazy, bro.
XL?
That's what I try to tell you. The 800 XL. It's like when Commodore 64 was out. It was like it was similar to Commodore 64. So, and then my buddy upgraded to the Atari 5200. It had Super Pac-Man, which was dope, So all that stuff, man. That's why I say that's the old school games back in the day.
Nintendo, the NES, I had one of those.
The original came out like 84, 85.
Yeah.
My cousin had that, and
I was 5 years old when I was playing that. I was like,
played the Mario.
yeah, I was like,
Do.
this is the best thing I've ever played.
Yeah, I think it's there. It took a generation. Like if it's something to that. If anybody hears that song from that era, like you can hear that music, you go automatically finish. I remember my cousin used to play all night. I go spend the night at his house. We all night long. That's still we playing the Mario and before the end they had a ColecoVision in television. There was a lot of little consoles out back in the day, man. Before they had Sega Genesis and all that, But that's cool. The video game culture is big, and that's like I said when I saw the Sonic shirt. Like my son, he's all about it. My other son, he's into. They're into. What's the? I'm having a brain fart. Oh, Zelda. Legends of Zelda.
Yeah.
So Link, they were just really into. They got all those, They
Yeah, that's my favorite game.
Is it? Yeah. That's yeah. They got all the stuff.
It's really good.
Which one is that? That's the
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I beat that game, and the ending to that game is really cool. You fight a huge dragon at the end.
Yeah, I saw it. My son was frustrated a lot on that. He was.
The last boss is really hard.
He was really free. He gets animated about that kind of stuff. So everybody in the house knows about those last bosses on that game. So that's something. But yeah, that's cool. So you play video games. So does your daughter play with you? I know she plays. She likes Sonic,
don't
right?
know what they do.
Not yet.
She
Not
don't
yet.
know. She'll watch me play them, but she don't know what to do with the controller.
When I first saw Sonic, man, I thought it was amazing, man. Just to see like how it moved and like how fast it was, and it was a later version. It was must have been 99 or 2000 era, like right around there or something. It was one.
Oh, like the 3D one.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, and because somebody was playing, I was just sitting there watching it, like while they're playing. I'm like, I could just watch this while they do this. This is crazy. It's entertaining, and you don't even have to play it. So that's cool, man. I like that. What are you got any other hobbies or anything you do, man? Besides gaming, or you rebuild engines or something, or do you?
Yeah, I have a really nice car.
Yeah, I see.
I don't know.
Like do people want to race you when they see you?
Sometimes.
What's that? A Charger? Challenger? Charger?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes people rev their engine.
Want to pull up on you, right? That's why.
When they drive by me and stuff.
I could imagine, man, when you driving something like that. That's pretty cool though. You don't speed though, I'm pretty sure. Even though you got on a Sonic T-shirt. You say most of the time, no.
Yeah, I've gotten some speeding tickets though.
It should be. It's probably easy, man. In a Charger, I mean.
I was going 79 and a 65.
Yeah.
This guy pulled me over, and I was in Hamburg, Arkansas.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get you somewhere like that.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
So I had to drive back there and pay it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Hamburg. That's down.
Yeah, I was like 2 or 3 hours from Little Rock,
So were you coming towards Little Rock, or were you going somewhere else?
I drove to Florida with another comedian, and we did a mic out there in Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
And This place was in a hotel bar, and everybody in the bar went up.
Oh.
There was like 50 people went
So,
up, man. It was
so
insane.
your crowd was comedians, so apparently. Huh?
It went on for like 4 hours.
What the hell? It's like open. When they say open mic, they mean open mic.
It never ended.
You're like, what the hell?
Gosh.
That's crazy. The Panhandle. That's pretty neat, though. It's good you get to travel, though.
Yeah.
It's good you get to travel when you go places. So how's the comedy scene when you go to other places? Do you have to take care of your own lodging and all that stuff and travel a lot of times, or do they?
Yeah. Like if I go to Fayetteville, I stay with my parents. I went to a Best Western in Chicago, outside of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And,
A Best Western. I love it. Yeah, my pops love the Best Western.
So, yeah, I try to find a kind of a cheap room, you know. Can't really pay a lot of money for staying anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It cuts into the profit of getting out here on the road. But a lot of it is actually getting out to do your art though. Do your thing. Which is a good thing. So what you looking forward to this year? You got any other projects coming up besides doing shows?
No. I stayed at somebody's apartment in Oklahoma one time. And,
What, it was the promoter or something? Or was
yeah.
It?
So.
Well, they gave you the couch, like, hey, here's a pillow, here's a blanket.
Yeah.
You can just lay right there on the couch. The fridge is yours.
That was at a casino. They got casinos there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in Durant, Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a tiny town, I don't know.
So there's a hotel.
Where it was.
There's a hotel at the casino. No, or
I don't think so. It was like a bar.
right?
It's like
Larry's Casino. It's a gas station.
It was like a sports bar.
Uh-huh.
There was a casino in it.
Okay, that's dope. That's nice. In Oklahoma, Durant, Oklahoma. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to get out there. You get to see the world. Huh? So, you said you done shows where else in Utah or?
No, I did one in Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho. How was that?
You've been there?
I never been to Idaho.
It was hot. It was like 95 degrees up there.
Oh, summertime. Huh?
It was like a desert.
That's great. That's why I heard that certain places are like that in
I
Idaho.
thought it'd be cold up there.
I thought, yeah, it's right up there close to Canada, right there. You were at the top. You caught them in the heat wave.
Yeah.
You see a lot of potatoes. No,
Yes.
A lot of really.
Yeah.
That's why
They sell them at the airport. Like these little potatoes there.
you can buy souvenir potatoes
Yes.
and just keep
Yeah,
them.
it's the weirdest thing.
Come home and cook these. Somebody cooked these souvenirs. No, I was keeping those. I want to have those.
I didn't eat a potato there though.
I always wonder about that stuff when you go to a place that's known for something like that. You know, like potatoes. There's potatoes just everywhere. You're eating potatoes all while you're in Idaho.
I did see them everywhere. Yeah.
You just didn't partake. You're like,
No,
I'm good.
I never had a.
I'm good. Idaho. You should just for the experience.
Here,
Just for the experience. You eat mashed potatoes? You like mashed potatoes and gravy?
Potatoes.
Probably would have been a different experience in Idaho. Something to tell people, you know. Look, man, This is what this
They
raid,
had
this
these
was
little
all about. This
potatoes,
is
like
what it's
they're
all.
really small.
The hell is? Yeah, it's probably like, what is this?
Little,
What is this?
they call them Yukon Gold potatoes.
Yukon
Little
Gold.
potatoes.
I've heard of the
You can buy them
Yukon
at the
Gold.
airport.
That's what's
There
up.
it is.
Now you making me want to go to Boise. I'm going to Boise, man, just for the potatoes.
There's not much there.
Because I see the myth, of Yukon Gold. They got these names for these different potatoes and stuff, and yeah, it's probably I'm good. I'll watch a video. Probably got something on YouTube.
There's a hotel up there that looks like a potato.
That's wild. That's what I could imagine. They say a lot of people moving to Idaho though, so Idaho's one of those places to get away from the world and whatnot. So, I'm good. I'm good in the world I'm in, as far as that goes. But yeah, man. So that's pretty much it for what we got going. Anything? Well, let me say something before I get out here. I do have to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with L.O.A.B. and Giggles Without Limits. The competition still continues. We got a big show coming up in Atlanta on the 22nd at the Uptown Comedy Spot, and then every third Wednesday, Riddles in Chicago. That's Alsip, Illinois. They got a competition going on, comedy competition. It's a 2-drink minimum, so you gotta come up in that thing. It's all good at Riddles Comedy Club. And make sure, if you want to join any of the competitions, you want to be a part of the competitions, you can just call 626-708-0266, and they'll get you hooked up, and Giggles Without Limits and all that stuff. So what do you think about the competition, though, Jared? You get to see other comics and stuff like that. Is it you feel the urge to win competitively at comedy?
Yeah, you get to see some good comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were really good.
Mm-hmm.
We had a pretty big crowd there.
Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it was a pretty good show. Wish I could have been there. Speaking of, just thinking about comedy itself as part of the game, and I know you've been doing it 11 years, and you've been talking about how good comics are. You say, oh, he's good. That's a good comic. Who's your favorite comic? Like, or a couple comics that you like that are kind of your favorite. That that's maybe could be a legend. It could be somebody we don't know about. It could be somebody new or whatever.
When I was younger, it was Eddie Murphy was my favorite comedian.
Yeah,
really funny.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
I was a big Bill Cosby fan.
Yeah,
I think we all were.
Yeah, Bill Cosby, very funny, very funny, very funny.
I had 2 of his albums on cassette tape that were from the.
Got a Bill Cosby record right here.
I had what is it called? What is Air?
What is there? Look, let me see. Put this up so people can see my Bill Cosby album here. See, I got a little Bill Cosby.
They were my mom's albums. I never listened to them.
I bought these at the video. What's the store of Game Exchange?
Oh yeah,
Lakewood Plaza. Got these here. Comedy albums, man. But yeah, Bill Cosby was great, man.
George Carlin.
Man. George
My
Carlin.
brother was I was watching with my brother, and I didn't think it was that funny at first. We just kept watching all the specials, and they just kept getting better. I think the one that he did when he's really old is really funny.
Came out a few years before he passed.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
Yeah, that's a really funny one.
Yeah, but he's always. I mean, he's
just so bitter.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that, man.
angry and stuff.
Yeah, and just to the point with things,
Oh,
you know. Carlin is a genius. Like when people talk about like comics, and I know a lot of people. Richard Pryor is like
oh,
the
he's the
standard,
best. He
Richard
was the
Pryor,
best comedian back then.
George Carlin, even like Robin Williams,
Yeah, Robin Williams
Robin
is
Williams.
huge influence on me.
Yeah, those guys kind of ran in that same era together too. I mean, and Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. Now this is the thing. I grew up, in the '70s and '80s, so these albums were around. I I had Richard Pryor live on Sunset and another one. Like I used to keep those under my bed because they couldn't. Cause I had to sneak and listen to them all the time. Eddie Murphy's first two albums, comedy albums, like I could recite them backwards and forwards. Like I used to listen to that every day when I was like 10, 11 years old. You know what I'm saying? So the whole Eddie, I was a big because at this time Eddie Murphy he was doing his stand up. He had just done 48 Hours and Trading Places. So he was like really hot, really big at Saturday Night Live. He had done his thing on Saturday Night Live. So Eddie Murphy was like the new Richard Pryor, whatever, at that age. And then when Beverly Hills Cop came out and all this stuff, it was just crazy. So from there, so Eddie Murphy, Eddie Murphy. He doesn't get the credit. I mean, I can't say he doesn't get the credit, but a lot of people don't realize, like, entertainment wise, he only did stand up. He kind of stopped doing stand up when he became a movie star, right? But his stand up was so good, it laughed. Like if you go look at Raw and Delirious, like those jokes are still, it's still hot. It's still hot.
Yeah, it's still funny.
Still funny stuff, man. A lot of
Still,
comedians. I've watched a lot of comedians over the years. I'm just a fan of comedy. I'm not a stand up comedian in any way, but I am funny in the car by myself and at home. So I'm pretty all the time. I've been in my own world trying to be
one of
funny.
the best specials I've seen recently was Sarah Silverman.
Mm. Is this new? This is.
She's just really.
I like Sarah Silverman. I do.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. She put out one on HBO.
Yeah, Sarah Silverman
She's
is
just
funny, man. It's just I'm a big fan of comedy. I'm a big SNL fan too, though. I've watched it over the years. I watch it in the bad years when they have to regroup and do this, and you see them developing the stuff. And it's always those seasons where it's like, man, okay, that was okay. I don't know what's going on here, but eventually they come back around. They have these cycles on the SNL, so and a lot of good comedians come through there. A lot of good comics and actors. Just the whole thing, the comedy is smart.
I remember on Comedy Central when that first came out, that channel, all it was
Stand up.
and live and stand up.
They used to do a lot of stand up.
All it was.
But you don't see a lot of stand up on Comedy Central now.
Well, not anymore. No.
They used to play like at night. There would be like a
But,
bunch of stand up
But when
overnight.
it was a brand new channel, it was just stand up and
Saturday Night Live reruns and stuff. Yeah.
So I really got into Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, man. I grew up watching it. It was a thing like I couldn't watch it because it came on so late.
Yeah.
So whenever I got a chance to watch it, it was like something. And it wasn't a time where now you could just go. Like I can go on Peacock now and just put it on the Saturday Night Live channel and let it just loop and watch all these episodes. I do that from time to time. It's just background noise because I've seen them anyway, most of them. But it's just to be able to see like what it takes. Most of the people that are on there they're successful because they have to be like writers and directors and stuff of their own skits and sketches sometimes. So it may take them into another realm of doing TV or doing shows or movies and stuff like that. So the creative side of it. It's a lot of people that came through there. Even people like Dennis Miller,
I
who used to do the news and stuff, and Colin Quinn, and it's just a lot of people, man, on that show. Jay Farrell, I like Jay Farrell.
My dad is a big Dennis Miller fan.
Yeah, Dennis.
Weird watch. He had a show on HBO.
Yeah. Talk show.
Weird watch.
The Dennis Miller show. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's
watching that with my dad.
talk about bitter. Dennis Miller is funny though. Very,
Oh,
I like his sarcastic. A lot of the
Yeah.
guys that are funny like that, and I say even like Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, stuff like that. Like to be able to kind of be an asshole or be the but keep a straight face, like you know what I'm saying, like a lot of the stuff is it's just funny to me, like to be able to do that. Yeah, Chevy Chase was
Yeah, I grew up watching his movies.
yeah, I was a big Fletch fan. The original Fletch was good. Of course, the vacation movie,
Yeah, we'd
Spies
watch
Like
those all the
Us.
time.
But that whole thing, Dan Aykroyd, man, just love,
Yeah.
just those guys together doing stuff, man. Rick Moranis, it's just a lot of funny people, man. John Candy, a lot of people.
Yeah, I was 11 years old when he died.
John Candy,
He died on my birthday.
that's crazy. Yeah, you'll always remember that, huh? That's crazy.
That's
That's you'll always remember that.
I
John
remember
Candy, yeah.
watching the news and seeing that.
Having a good day,
It's like, man.
trying to blow out these candles, and what happens? So, were you into comedy as a kid? Did you?
Yeah, I watched a lot of funny movies and stuff. We watched. Yeah, I was a big John Candy fan.
Mhm.
I just recently watched Uncle Buck again.
Uncle Buck, classic.
Um,
That's
that's
classic.
one of my favorite movies
That's
of
classic.
all time.
That's classic. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes, that's a great movie.
It's a lot like Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal's a funny guy, man. Like,
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
yeah, Billy Crystal's a funny guy, man. I'm gonna tell you who. Okay, so think about this, and we're gonna talk about Saturday Night Live. When Eddie Murphy was hot, Joe Piscopo was hot. What happened to Joe Piscopo? After that whole thing, it's just like you never see him. He never. But like when it was him and Eddie, like he was playing Sinatra and Eddie was playing, Sammy Davis Jr. or somebody. You know what I'm saying? It was just good.
Mr. Robinson Neighborhood.
Did you see? Okay, so remember when okay, you remember, I don't know when this was, 23, 24, when Eddie Murphy came back. It was a big thing because
he
he
did
came
it again.
and he did the new one. That was hilarious.
That was
And the couple comes looking for their TV. And he's like, "What you doing? Who is it?" Yeah, man, Mr. Robinson. That's good stuff, man. So the original Saturday Night Live, and see, like George Carlin used to be on Saturday Night Live. Richard Pryor was because Richard Pryor hosted Saturday Night Live for a minute, and like one of the original ones, it went 75 or something like that. So that's just funny in itself because those guys were big at that time already, and it's got a lot of legacy with that. What I'm saying?
There's a movie about the first episode.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I
I
want to see it. Well, this year they did a lot of stuff. They did the 50-year special. They did the movie, and it's something else like a whole other document. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. I would like to see that because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of tension on that. Because I watch a lot of the original ones, the old ones. They're not funny to me. Like because they're not that funny. Like I get it. At that time, they probably were really funny, but like you look at some of them now, it's like.
I like John Belushi.
John Belushi always.
He was hilarious.
Always. John Belushi always. Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was, and it's sad. And I was going to mention Chris Farley, but I think if there was no John Belushi, there couldn't be a Chris Farley. Like you know what I'm saying. And it's and to put them together. I hate to put it together, but like that. But it's kind of because Chris Farley.
That was his hero.
Chris Farley, man. I mean, dude, physical comedy. Yeah, that king of physical comedy. And speaking of physical comedy, and it's not a stand-up comedian, but I was a big fan growing up of John Ritter. Like I used to watch Three's Company. I used to watch Three's Company as a kid. It was just the best show to me because he would trip over a couch. Who trips over a couch? Like the dude will flip, like John Ritter, man. We that was tragic when he passed too. Because it was like out of nowhere. It's like, man, but
my mom was a big John Ritter fan.
Yeah, man. Very, very funny guy, man. That's why I said. So when I talk about comedy, a lot of times it includes the stand up and everything. Like TV, I was a TV kid. I grew up watching all the little sitcoms. I know the 80s sitcoms are crazy, man. Like I was watching Game Show Network the other day because I was at the doctor's office, and Alfonso Ribeiro
Yeah. From,
Carlton himself, as well as I was thinking, I was like, this guy was the sidekick to everybody. Like he was on Silver Spoons with Ricky Schroeder as as a sidekick. As Silver Spoons. Then he was Carlton. Then when LL Cool J had that show, he was like the sidekick on that show in the house or something.
Yeah,
He was on there, but he was always funny, man. Dude's always
yeah,
funny,
he's
man. I mean, in his own little way. So those people were able to steal the show. So, but I said now he's a game show host. This is hilarious.
Well, he was a nerd.
Yeah.
He was a nerdy guy.
Yeah, but he's also the kid in the Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial. If you go back to the Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial where they're dancing in the street and the little dude got on the little it's on YouTube, got on the red jacket, that's Alfonso Ribeiro. So
Yeah.
Carlton himself before he had the Carlton dance. so that's what's up, man. So anything you want to say to anybody, or if our people get in contact with you to buy your merch or do a subscription, we got to come up with a revenue plan or something. We got to
I'm
Patreon or
I'm
something.
on YouTube. I'm on Jared Lowery. I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok and just all this stuff. I'm on there.
So you do the TikTok stuff.
I put some stand-up videos on there, and I got some other videos of my cat on there. I don't know.
Boy, you got a lot of inspiration. A 4-year-old, a cat. Animals are always inspirational, especially cats, because they wind up in the craziest places.
He's a really big cat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man. You got one of those cats that people scared of. It's a cat in my neighborhood. I avoid. I see that cat coming down the street. I turn the other way. That's a big dude. I had 2 cats. I had 2 cats and 3 dogs at the same time. It was like a zoo at the house. I had a cat named Nermal and a cat named Puppy. And Puppy was cool. I had a few cats, man. I had a cat named Button, and she passed. It was very sad, but she used to hide in the dryer and stuff. I got a picture of her. She was this little cute little white little cat, man, and she was in the dryer. Like, girl, you almost glad I checked. But yeah, that kind of stuff, man, is always cool. It's always inspiration from animals. I'm an animal lover, so love kids, love animals. Anyway, glad to have you on the show, Mr. Jared Lowery. It's been a great time speaking with you. We always talk to comedians here on Giggles Without Limits. And remember, my man D So Funny is teaching a comedy class. You know what I'm saying? They got a comedy course, 4 weeks online. You can get enrolled. All you got to do is just email LOAB3@gmail.com, or you can give us a call at the other number, 626-708-0266. That's L.O.A.B. Productions, LLC. And it'll always get you can become a comedian. Learn from comedians how to be a comedian, okay? It's all good. We'll see you next time on Giggles Without Limits. I'm Money Mall, and thanks. We had Jared Lowery here. Check him out. Go to his social media. See him on YouTube, and check out the show, man. And we'll